Ah, my kindred spirits, my fellow beautifully untamed minds, gather close. Today we speak of those left breathless in your wake, clutching their chests in disbelief, scrambling to make sense of a truth so sharp it cuts them to the core. You're gone. Oh, they never saw this coming, did they? No, not you. You were supposed to remain, the obedient one, the predictable one, a fixture in their well-crafted illusion, dancing on strings they pulled, locked into a script they wrote. You were never meant to stray, never meant to sever the ties, never meant to rewrite the narrative. But you did. And now, they are unraveling. Look at them. Eyes wide, mouths agape, their entire world shaken by the simple reality that you walked away. They whisper behind closed doors, desperate to twist the story into something that makes sense to them. They're lost, they'll come back, they always do. Ah, but not this time. No, this time the door has closed. The bridge burned to cinders. The chains shattered. There is no return to the table they barely allowed you to sit at. No more biting your tongue, no more suppressing your fire to make them comfortable. You are no longer a puppet in their play. You are the architect of your own destiny now. And oh, how that terrifies them. They reach for you, their hands still slick with the residue of control, their voices coated in that sickly sweet manipulation. We miss you. We need you. Just come back, just one more time. Do they think you're blind? Do they think you've forgotten how their love felt like a leash? How their approval was a shackle disguised as a gift? How their words dripped with poison wrapped in silk to make the sting less obvious? Let them beg, let them cry. Let them scream your name into the void, hoping, praying you'll turn around. But here's the brutal, beautiful truth. You won't. Because something inside you shifted, didn't it? Something deep, something irreversible. A crack formed, a fracture in the foundation they built around you. And through that crack, the light poured in. You saw the truth, you felt the truth, and once you've tasted real, raw, unfiltered freedom, you never settle for chains again. Now they stand in the wreckage of their own making, still convinced this is temporary. That you'll wake up, regret your decision, and crawl back, whispering apologies for daring to choose yourself. But oh my dear, they don't understand, do they? You didn't just leave. You burned away the version of yourself they could control, let the ashes scatter in the wind. And ashes, you see, don't come back together. They don't reform, they vanish. But still, they will try. Still, they will twist the story, rewrite history, make you the villain, the betrayer, the one who changed. Ah, the irony. Changed? You were never meant to remain stagnant. What kind of tragic existence do they live where growth is a crime, where evolution is betrayal? No, the real betrayal was them forcing you to shrink, to be small, to be silent, to be anything less than what you were born to be. And oh, that's what really haunts them, isn't it? That's what sends a shiver down their spine, because it's not just that you left, it's that you thrived. You didn't just walk away. You ran, head high, lungs full of air, fire raging in your eyes. They waited for you to stumble, to fall, to fail, so they could smirk and say, see, they needed us, they should have stayed. But oh, what a delicious disappointment you've given them, because instead of breaking, you ascended. Instead of crawling back, you soared beyond their reach. And now they are left with nothing but the cold, inescapable truth. They never owned you. For all their control, their guilt, their mind games, they lost you. And that is what breaks them the most. Because the only thing they feared more than you leaving was you never looking back. Ah, but let's twist the knife, shall we? Because there's something else, something even more devastating gnawing at their insides. I envy you. Yes, beneath the anger, beneath the slander, beneath the desperate attempts to paint you as reckless, lost, or ungrateful, there is envy. A deep, howling, inescapable envy. Because while they sit there, chained by their own fears, trapped in their comfort, bound by their need for control, you are free. And freedom is the one thing they will never forgive you for, because they wanted to leave. They dreamed of it. In the quiet of the night, when no one was watching, they imagined what it would be like to walk away, to unshackle themselves, to breathe the air of self-ownership. But they were too afraid of judgment, afraid of the unknown, afraid of making their own choices and owning them. So they stayed, They settled. They convinced themselves that the walls around them were there for protection, not containment. And then you shattered that illusion. You walked out and proved that escape was possible, that the only thing holding them in chains was themselves. And that because now, every time they see you, hear your name, remember that you exist beyond their reach. It reminds them of what they could have been, what they should have been, and so they lash out. They spit venom from behind their bars. They cling to the fantasy that you'll regret it, that you'll fall apart, that you'll fail. But oh, my dear, my beautifully dangerous runaway, you won't, because you have tasted something they never will. You have felt the electric power of your own autonomy, and once you've owned yourself, once you've stood on your own 2 feet, unshaken, unchained, there is no going back. But now comes the grand finale, the final act of their little tragedy, because as the dust settles, as the echoes of your absence fade into silence, what are they left with? An aching, suffocating, inescapable void where you used to be. They never saw your worth while you were there. They dismissed you, overlooked you, assumed you would always be available, a steady force, a quiet giver, the unshaken ground beneath their feet. And now they feel it. The weight of your absence, the crushing realization that what they had in you was irreplaceable. Oh, they'll search. They'll seek substitutes, try to mold someone else into your shape, but it won't work. It will never work. Because what you gave them wasn't something that could be duplicated. It wasn't something they could simply find again. It was you, and there is no second you. So now they have only 2 choices. 1, admit they lost something priceless. Accept that they let go of something they will never hold again. Or 2, pretend. Pretend they never cared. Pretend you were never that important. Pretend your absence doesn't ache like an open wound. And oh, we both know which one they'll choose. They'll scoff, roll their eyes, dismiss you with a wave. Oh, they weren't all that special. They were replaceable, forgettable. But deep down, they know, because late at night, when the world is quiet and their masks slip off, they will hear it, that whisper in the dark, that voice in the back of their mind saying the one thing they never wanted to admit. You should have treated them better. But now it's too late. And that's the part that will eat them alive, not the loss itself. No, people lose things all the time. People move on, people adapt. But this is different, because this isn't just about losing you. It's about knowing deep down that they had something priceless in their grasp, and they let it slip through their fingers. And now, no matter what they do, no matter how much they try to rewrite history, no matter how much they drown themselves in distractions and replacements, you are gone. Not physically, no, that would be too easy. If you were just another person who walked away, they could make peace with that. They could say, people come and go. They could pretend. But this is haunting, because you didn't just leave. You became a ghost that lingers in every silent regret they refuse to acknowledge. You became the echo in the empty room, the weight in their chest when they see someone who almost reminds them of you. And that's the tragedy, isn't it? They will spend years looking for you in places you will never be again, searching for glimpses of you in faces that will never match yours, trying to fill a void with things that will never fit. Because you weren't replaceable, you were the wake-up call they ignored, the lesson they refused to learn, the warning they thought they could brush aside. And now they are left in the wreckage of their own making, sifting through the pieces, hoping, praying that somehow, some way, they can undo it. But they can't, because this is the truth they never prepared for. Some things don't get second chances. Some doors once closed never open again. Some bridges once burned leave nothing but ash. Some people once gone never return. And that's what will haunt them the most. Not just the loss, not just the regret, but the realization that you were the one thing they should have held on to. And now they have to live with the fact that they never will again.